Director Slater Carter,
Present.
Director Decker,
Here.
Director Penrose,
Here.
Director Randall,
Here.
alternating for Director Clark, right? And Chair Dye.
Here. And can you introduce the other two people? Other three people? Yourself and
Okay,
just for the
Yeah.
record?
Yep. record, we have here Tim Costello, our plant superintendent. We have Callie from the accounts department. We have the public, we have Aaron, lead operator. We have Tanya, our guest, and myself, Kishan Satyawadi, the general manager. And we have a couple of people, our operator.
We don't need, yeah, I think just the people who are
This should be
around
in the
us.
fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Good. Thank you.
great. Do we have any public comment for items that are not on the agenda? Yes,
I would like to make a short PowerPoint. Share something.
I saw Pillar Cedars Creek today. It's very full.
It's full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, open the plug down there, would you?
Yes.
Guys,
It should be.
No, it's not overflowing, but it's full. It's heading to the ocean.
It
Great
didn't seem as bad as the storms last
No,
year.
did not.
No.
We got
No, it
2
wasn't.
inches last night at our house.
Yeah, that's what I got
Last
too.
night was intense. Wow. Mhm.
Oh, it's
Okay.
okay, great,
so
thank you.
it's never a dull moment at SAM.
Fire, water,
Fire, water at the plant or out here at the board meeting or wherever, right? Never a dull moment. But we did have a fire event on Saturday, January 20th. It happened in the morning at about 5 o'clock, and there was there's a branch which fell off the PG&E line, and that line fell and caught fire inside the plant, very close to the mechanical building 1, close to the influent pump. Fortunately, our staff who took care of it immediately, we got the alarm that the power was off, so they came in here, and then the operator who was on duty called a fire department, and they came in on time and doused the fire. So it was all contained, and no damage, nothing was compromised. Of course, there was a lot of concern, there was worry, but we had to shut off the PG&E power supply, and then the crew had to come in on a Saturday. They came in, and by the time we got back power, it was probably 2 o'clock or so in the afternoon. We were running on generator, but everything was within limits. And just wanted to say this is what we went through last weekend.
We had a contractor cutting down trees around the plant. Was this anywhere near where he took down
yeah,
trees?
where exactly was it? I'm not clear from the picture.
Go ahead.
This is over here, so this is adjacent to the creek. So the main power line coming into the facility comes along the back of Pilchitos, and it terminates right here at the end. But to answer your question, where the tree trimmers were, they were on the opposite side. So all this trimming was done by PG&E around the power lines. What is that?
Someone's echo.
Someone's got an open mic.
Is that whoever that gentleman with the beard is? MPC
Yeah.
Zoom.
Greg,
Um,
turn up, down?
Greg Yegas. Yeah.
So anyhow,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think PG&E is going to they're going to do some work, but I don't think to protect the facility, I don't think that they will bring the trees down to a level that I feel is adequate to make sure that those pictures don't happen again.
Then let's just expand the activity.
That's what we decided. We said we'll take it on our dime and try to trim it down to a level which will be acceptable for us and which we think.
I don't, because it's around power lines, obviously the cost goes up because it's high voltage work at that point. So I will talk to the people that are doing the work currently and yeah.
And how
Yeah,
did
you
staff report it? I didn't hear exactly how that happened.
Yeah, what happens is once this power goes off, the power went off because the line
Oh,
off, it's not.
okay, power
And
went
once the
off.
power goes off, then the operator on duty gets a message on his phone that the power is off. So they have to come to the plant immediately.
Got
Something has gone wrong, or they have to come to switch on. The generator kicks automatically, but they have to come here to reset and take care of things. So when they came here, and then they saw that fire, and then it all started.
Got it. Thank you. Thanks, staff, for us. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, they were all alert, and that was good that they came in so quickly. And
Yeah.
fortunately for us, the rains, because it was raining and it was all wet, the fire did not spread.
Right.
It was all wet. Otherwise, it would have been catastrophic.
Yeah. Right.
It- Small snap, apparently it took a couple of hours for them to fix it. But ironically, the PG&E had sent somebody across on Thursday to come and inspect what trees to be cut. Thursday, on Friday they came. On Friday they came, and Saturday morning they had this.
Oh,
So,
And I also noticed from your report that there was some problem with our own electrical switchover, the transition from the power off to the,
yeah, that was the week before that.
Yeah.
We had a contact. We lost 2 contractors. Actually, I wanted to show the contractor to you guys. I have it in my office. I forgot to bring it here. But we lost a contractor. It got burned out. So we had to wait for the new contractor to come. We bought 2 contractors and had to replace it. Ethan had to come a couple of days later, and we did that. That happened the week before.
right.
And the staff person is the one that called the fire department?
Correct.
So what was the time from when they received the text to when they got here? Because that seems scary. That what if they delayed and there was a dry fire? I mean, it could have spread. Not that it's their fault, but just the timing between the two could have been
I think
catastrophic.
staff was, so we already had staff here in the morning because there were electrical issues going on up north. When the other staff was here, that's when he was going out to check numbers, and he saw the power glitching and he saw that there. So when he did notice that there, that's when he called the fire department. It was well before it got to those
That
pictures.
level,
Yeah,
okay.
it didn't look like that.
Okay.
And he
Maybe a
noticed
few
it.
minutes or
Yeah,
probably.
Okay.
but he
That's
was
so
here.
scary.
Quick response from the fire department.
yeah.
Yes, they stood there and watched while our guys hosed things down. It was brilliant, really.
Oh,
That's
really?
helpful. Why was that? No idea.
Catherine has some comments about that as well.
Not on camera.
No.
All right. We have a lot of fire stories around here. All right, moving on. Anything else on that? Moving on to the consent agenda. I know you had an issue. Does anyone want to pull anything from the consent agenda?
The minutes.
Yes, I saw the correction which Director Raleigh had said. We can amend that. We'll amend that.
Okay.
And if it's okay, we can go ahead and approve the meeting.
What's the amendment?
The amendment is that Sid's statement, we have to mention it that the Director Raleigh mentioned that there is an on-site package sewer plant currently, but that in the future there could be a connection from the site to a sewer line at the corner of Miramonte Point Road and SR1.
That's the correct version of the
That's a correct
minutes.
question.
The minutes as stated said that I said that there was a sewer hookup on site, which is what I said, so.
No, you corrected yourself on
Yes. All right. Anything else on the consent agenda? Can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
As amended.
As amended.
As
yes.
amended.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? We have a roll call, please.
Director Raleigh,
Yes.
Director Slater Carter,
Yes.
Director Decker,
Yes.
Director Randall,
Aye.
Director Penrose,
Hi.
Chair Dye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to regular business. First item is authorize general manager modify certain previously approved CIP projects so that funding can be diverted to other CIP previously budgeted amounts. You want to
Yes.
handle that?
Yep. This item was discussed at the Finance Committee meeting last week. And we found that there are a couple of projects which were approved in 21, 22, and 22, 23, which are low priority and some need not be, are not required at this moment. So we thought we could divert this funding to other CIP projects which are already approved. Therefore, these are the 4 projects which have been listed in the staff report. The first one is the install grid removal system Since wet well cleaning at Montana Pump Station is being done on an annual basis, we said we do not need to install this grit removal system immediately, and we can possibly do that at a later date. The second item was the replacement or rehabilitating SAM vehicles, and we don't need any vehicle immediately, so we can do it not moving forward with this project for now. Fixed chlorine injection issues at Clarifier. We have carried out certain modifications in the pipeline, and this project is not required to be done at all. And the fourth one is the primary scum pump and motor. These are not used very often, and these are in a good condition. We've assessed it, and they do not need to be replaced. And therefore, these four projects, by which if we do not pursue it, we get funding of about 392,000, which could be available for projects which are short of funds. So currently, this was discussed in the finance committee meeting, as I told earlier, and said we could bring it to the board for a formal approval. Any questions?
Comments? I think this is good. We should be doing, as we go forward with CIP and so forth, doing mid-year look at where we are with all the projects and consider the past projects when we move forward.
I will move that we authorize the general manager to certain previously approved CIP to
Modify.
modify. Thank you. Certain previously approved CIP projects so that funding can be diverted to other capital improvement projects which have exceeded previously budgeted amounts.
I second.
Okay, any further discussion? We have a roll call. Yes.
Director Slater,
Yes.
Director Decker,
Aye.
Director Penrose.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
All right, moving on to authorize general manager to issue a purchase order to rebuild it to provide labor and equipment necessary for replacing one secondary clarifier mechanism in an amount not to exceed $566,516.
So this is a repair of the secondary clarifier. The secondary clarifier is a big equipment which has got several parts, and this is not construction of a new item altogether. And this is just replacing the drives of the clarifier. If you see in your staff report, you see this circular thing which is shown in the staff report is the clarifier. So a small portion which is shown in the staff report on the left side, that's the drive mechanism. So that is being replaced. So what we did was we had plans of the secondary clarifier. We sent out these plans of the complete secondary clarifier. And then we had language as what has to be replaced. And then we called the equipment manufacturers to come and have a look at it, because there could be equipment suppliers, plus there could be people who could rebuild it or refurbish it. And then we got these prices. So as you see, there's a wide variation in the prices. You have Rebuild It, you have Vestec and Evoqua. Now Vestec and Evoqua are like brand new equipment or suppliers who supply these things on a regular basis to various people. And Rebuild It is specialized in clarifiers. They go place to place and refurbish it and rebuild it, recondition it to make it look the same way as any new one, and they give us the same sort of warranty. Mm-hmm. And they've got a good reference list at various places where they've done. So we reached out to all these equipment suppliers, because there's kind of a drive mechanism which has to fit into the space which is provided. We cannot just go ahead and get drives from anywhere. So these are specialized things which we'll have to reach out to only certain suppliers. Mm. And this was budgeted earlier for about 220,000 in 22-23, and the price came out. The lowest price was Rebuild It, which was about 516,000. So what we're saying is the balance of the item could be used from the CIP projects, which in the last item, which we said that could be deferred or canceled. So we have money out there, about 392,000. We could use part of that for this clarifier. So
346,516.
Correct. Yeah. So like I said, this is a drive mechanism, which is a part of the complete clarifier. Nobody would replace a complete clarifier because it's a huge thing task to construct a complete clarifier. We have two secondary clarifiers. So right now we are talking only of one clarifier. We would see how that replacement goes, and then bring it back in the forthcoming years for doing work on the second clarifier.
Can you tell me why we didn't send out an RFP on this?
We didn't send out an RFP because it's more of a specialized thing, like a repair project. It's like a repair of a particular equipment. Because when you send out RFP, there could be so many people who come out for drives and all that thing. It's not like just replacing a gearbox or anything.
No, it's just a huge amount to not have an RFP go out on. That was my thinking.
Yeah, follow on what Deborah said. I'm just wondering how that comports with state contract law. Because it's not just equipment, it's labor too. So it's more like a capital project. So maybe it's a question for Jeremy. It's like, can we legally do this?
I thought you might ask, or I thought somebody might. It's a close one. I'll give you that. I talked to Kishan about this the other day. I could defend not doing public bidding on it. Under the Sanitary District Act, essentially public works projects have to go out for a competitive bid and be awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. So the question is it a public works project? And it's got some hallmarks of being a public works project, but also if you're just, rehabilitating equipment, if you're replacing equipment, maybe it's not a public works project. So it's kind of one of those gray areas. The cost, I saw the cost too, and it kind of made my eyebrows go up a little bit as to, typically when you have higher dollar amounts for particular work, it tends to start looking more like a public works project. So anyway, I can live with it. I think it's not clearly wrong, but I think we do need to be a bit more careful going forward. If we have things that start to look like construction, a public works effort, that we comply with the requirements of the public contract code.
And I just want to point out, the difference between Rebuild and West Tech and Evoqua, it's a significant, magnitude greater, the proposals for 2 and 3, which is really unusual that, there would be that large a discrepancy between, proposals. I just find it curious.
Is Rebuild It proposing to do prevailing wage?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to have to do prevailing wage.
Have to.
Yeah.
Are there differences in what they're actually proposing to pay for? Will we have to, all of a sudden need more to pay Rebuild It because their scope of work is less than the other scopes of work? Or I'm just wondering how there could be such discrepancy.
Catherine?
I see 3 bids from 3 separate agencies or corporations. So,
It's quotes, they're not bids, they're quotes.
Yeah, they're not competitive bid. They're proposals.
They're proposals. I'd have to say they were telling us what they were going to do the job for. There were significant differences. And for a board that's struggling for money, I think we need to be careful how we're arguing these things. I don't want to pay an extra $300,000 and not get work done that so badly needs to be done.
We all want things done properly.
Yeah, and cheaply, as cheaply as we can.
So I see 3 different companies who gave us 3 different proposals. They're all known to be able to do this kind of work. I would not want to go out to general contractors who would have to then hire one of these firms to come in and do the work and jack it up 10 or 20%.
Lowballing it.
Yeah. And Rebuild It has a reputation to maintain. It's kind of like if you've got a vehicle and it needs engine work, you don't take it to a bicycle guy. And so I'm comfortable with it. So I move that we approve this item. I'll read it out loud. Authorize the general manager to issue a purchase order to Rebuild It the company to provide labor and equipment necessary for replacing one secondary clarifier drive mechanisms in an amount not to exceed $566,516.
Yeah, before we go on to the.
Yes, I know.
Before we go there,
Greg,
Yeah.
Greg, do you?
I have one
need to-
other clarification, which I did not bring up. The other two manufacturers, Westech and Evoqua, quote through the distributors, Misco. So there's another person who probably provides a markup and then gives it. Whereas Rebuild is the contractor who'll be doing all that work.
So did you go for prices to the distributor or did you go to these individual companies?
Westech and Evoqua products, we can only go through the distributors.
Right, so did you get these quotes from the distributor?
Yeah, I got it.
Or
Misco.
from these two separate companies?
I got it from Misco, who are the distributors for these two products.
So what you're saying is the much higher prices
There could be a markup because the
are
distributors.
markup from the distributor.
Yeah, probably.
But did the distributor give you these two quotes?
Yeah, that's
That's what he said.
So
That's what he said.
That's what I said.
for the, yes. sorry.
I don't know how much the markup would be, but I'm saying there
But if
could
the
be. Yeah,
distributor's not going to be doing the work.
It's just a mark.
but that's the way it is. You can't directly go to the manufacturer. It's always the manufacturer passes it on to the distributor in the western region. So you have to he reaches out to the manufacturer and gets a quote.
Because they have to get their stuff from the distributor.
Right. Yeah. So, Greg, please.
So I had some of the same questions you all have, and I was wondering about the price difference. I looked at the warranty, and the warranty for the cheaper alternative is essentially double. The warranties are a year from completion or 18 months from delivery of the parts for the other firms, and it's 2 years and 6 months from delivery of the parts or 2 years from completion for Rebuilt It. So, that's also surprising that the warranty is better for the cheaper alternative. So I think, my only approach here would be to fall back on reputation and judgment. What's been the experience with reference sites with Rebuilt It? How can they be so much better? And certainly the markup through an intermediary is part of the answer. But I'm just wondering, do we have some real world experience we can cite that says these guys are truly aces and specialists, and that's why they beat the competition so badly?
Okay, I don't have that ready here, but yes, we've done some reference check and we found that they are reliable contractors.
Was there a second to the motion?
Yes.
All right. Is there any further discussion?
No, I just like to say that I would rely on Keishan's expertise in this matter. And I do like the idea of a longer warranty. I think that's nice. I'm not sure why they're so much cheaper, but right now I think we should go for it. So.
All right. Anyone else want to comment? All right. Let's have a roll call.
Director Randall?
Aye.
Director Penrose?
Aye.
Director Slater Carter?
Yes.
Director Ruddock?
Yes.
Director Decker?
Yes.
Chair Dye?
Aye.
Before we move on the agenda, something that bothered me when I first read this agenda was we're being asked to enter into a contract with SRT without having approved the budget amendment. I'd like to take the budget amendment first and then talk about the design.
Yeah, so basically you would like to do 4E first and then jump to 4D.
Yes.
Have we done 4C?
We haven't done.
No, we haven't done yet.
We haven't done 4C, but we need to have if we're going to change the agenda, we may as well just discuss it now.
That's chair's discretion.
I think 4C shouldn't take that long.
Yeah.
Right. But do we want to change the order of E and D? Does anyone have an opinion?
No, that's
Catherine made
fine.
a request. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Do we need to do?
let's do C.
Yes.
Let's do C and then E and then D.
Right. That makes sense. Okay, moving on to item C, authorize general manager to issue a purchase order to Brentwood to provide labor and equipment necessary for replacing one primary longitudinal collector mechanism, a primary clarifier one in an amount not to exceed $304,500.
Yes, this is for the we have three primary clarifiers, and we would like to replace the longitudinal collector mechanism for the primary clarifier. We already had, if you see the packet, we had Evoqua who had done a conditional assessment of the primary clarifier, but 2 years back probably. We've got pictures of what all things need to be replaced. And so pretty much we'd like to try it out on one clarifier and then one primary clarifier, and then take this step for the next clarifier later on in the forthcoming years. So we reached out to Brentwood, Evoqua, and Rebuilt and Crowley, and we got the Brentwood price to be the apparent lowest. We'd like to proceed with Brentwood.
Right, discussion on this.
Yeah, I was just curious, since Rebuilt is doing the first project, wouldn't there be some savings in having them do both?
We actually got a combined proposal for both, but it was not working out cheaper.
Okay.
Same thing here, their quotes. You know, of course, a little less dollar value, but it's still.
Yeah, if you see the lowest quote was DEWA, DEWA, which is 216,731, but we are not recommending that because that company is based in Norway, and Finland, and they do not have any representation in the United States. So we actually got a quote in euros, and there's no support here, so we don't know where the spare parts will be available, what sort of support will be, so we don't want to really go that route. That's why we did not take that, although that was the lowest. The second lowest was Brentwood, and that's 304, 543, and 473. Yes.
These two projects will be appreciably covered by the savings.
Appreciably, yes, we'll probably fall short of about 30 or 40, 35,000 or 40,000,
Yeah.
which we can make up with some of the other CIP projects where we'll not be completely consuming that.
Great. Good. Any further discussion on this? If not, can we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay. Further discussion? Anyone from the public? All right, I guess can we have a roll call?
Director Randall?
Aye.
Director Penrose?
Hi.
Director Slater-Carter?
Yes.
Director Roddick?
Yes.
Director Decker?
Aye.
Chair Dye?
Aye.
Thank you.
Authorize the general manager to submit a budget amendment fiscal year 23-24 to the member agencies for approval.
Yes, so we have two projects which are required to be completed as a part of the consent decree from ERF, which is the Ecological Rights Foundation for the Benefit of the Public. And one of them, this Princeton Pump Station, is required to be completed by June 30th, 2024. And the other project, which is the Montara Force Main, the construction is required to be completed in 2026, but there's an earlier timeline which we have to comply with and complete it by December 31st, 2024. And that is to complete the final design of the Montara Force Main. Now, regarding the first item, which is the Princeton Pump Station Rehabilitation project, we had discussed it in the month of August when SAM staff had brought the bids from the contractor to the board. At that point of time, we were told that we should go ahead and award the contract to the contractor, but the board was not willing to fund the project, and the board assured the SAM staff that a decision will be taken in January to fund the project. So based on that, the SAM staff awarded the contract to the contractor, which is JMB Construction, and construction has gone far ahead in the sense of submittals, and contractor has placed an order on the equipment. A lot of work has been done, and the contractor is mobilizing possibly in the month of February. We've gone ahead, got permits from the county. A lot of work has been done. I would say the major part of the work has been done except for mobilizing and starting the construction. So with the assurance that we're going to get funded for the project. So we've ordered on electrical items, panel works have started, VFDs have been procured. A lot of these things have been done besides the main contractor's work. So the attachment in the staff report indicates clearly that the Princeton Pump Station total cost would be around $2,602,773, which is inclusive of the POs, purchase orders which have been released, as well as the estimated future costs. And this project was approved 2 years back for an amount of 1,263,181. And so we are short of about 1,339,592. And this dollar amount was also known and discussed at the board level in the month of August of last year. So this is being brought to the board now so that the general manager could be authorized to submit it to the member agencies for approval. The way it works is once the board authorizes the general manager to pass it on to the member agencies for approval, it will be discussed at the respective district or council. And once they approve or whatever decision is taken, it's brought back to SAM board and then adopted to the SAM board. So it takes a while for it to go back and forth and then come back to the SAM board, probably a month at least. So I have requested the member agency managers in a manager meeting last week that we would like this to be brought back to SAM board by the second meeting of February, which means we would like it to be discussed at the council and the district in the first meeting in February. Because we need to complete the job by June 30th, 2024. And the contractor will start sending his invoices probably in the month of February, and we will have to pay them. That is for the first item on the project, which is the Princeton Pump Station. The second item on the media budget adjustment is the Montara Force Main design. A pre-design work was awarded to SRT consultants in the month of April, May of last year, and the consultant had presented to the board, and several options were discussed, and the board recommended a particular option. And at that point of time, we also realized that the full amount which was awarded to the consultant was not fully consumed, so we still had a balance amount left from the pre-design work, and therefore a decision was taken that the GM could go ahead, the general manager could go ahead and get the consultant started to start the design work. So 10% of the design has been completed, so that we can catch up with the rest of the design. And this design is required to be completed by the end of December of this year. It takes this long a time because not only it has to be, the final design has to be kept ready by December 31st, which means the surveying has to be done, the environmental work has to be done, the geotechnical has to be done. All this has to be done in conjunction with the design which is being done by the consultant for the Montara Force Main. And this project has not been approved for the main design. And we got a proposal from SRT Consultants, which is $448,100. And the estimated cost for surveying, CEQA, which is the environmental, and the geotech has also been added, and it comes to about $783,100. And therefore, put together with the two projects, the Princeton Pump Station and the Montara Force Main, we are requesting, staff is requesting for a mid-year budget adjustment of about $2,122,692. And the staff report also indicates how much is the share of each of the member agencies, where there's an increase in for Half Moon Bay about 1,305,456. For GCSD, it's about 404,373. And for Montara, it's about Montara Water and Sanitary District, it's about 412,864,000. So this was discussed in detail at the manager's level last week. It is being brought to the board for seeking authorization to submit it to the respective district or council for approval. And staff is here to answer any questions. And yes.
We have discussion.
I'm a little confused. So what we're discussing first is the budget amendment.
Correct. Authorization for the general manager to submit the budget amendment to the member agencies for approval.
And then is the contract with SRT included in the budget amendment?
Yes.
It is.
It is, okay.
It is a part of the Montara Force Main design. Your packet indicates the design services and permitting assistance of $448,100 for the Montara Force Main design. And that is the SRT consultant's proposal, which is in the next item.
Okay. And so you have made sure that both the budget and the work schedule for these two items will fit within the SRT, I'm sorry, the ERF, too many acronyms, within the ERF timeframe so that we can protect ourselves from further aggressive lawsuits.
Yes, absolutely. The Princeton Pump Station needs to be completed by June 30th, 2024. And we are seeking a budget adjustment so that we could comply with it and complete it well in time. And the same with Montara Force Main design, where the design work has to be completed by December 31st, 2024. So if we take this decision today, then it will help us to move forward and complete it as per the requirement of the consent decree.
And the work as described meets all of the ERF terms.
Yes, in both cases.
Thank you.
As to, I should clarify, at least as to getting the design work done, there are additional steps.
Additional steps.
Right, this is part one of Montero, but it's
Right, this gets the design done by the deadline, but there would then be a requirement to actually replace the other components of the Montero Force Main.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned, that the entire construction has to be completed by I think June 2026. So they have 7,500 linear feet to be constructed by December of next year, 2025. So only once we start the design, then we can be ready for construction.
I would like it clarified in the SRT letter and in any further documents. This is something I've asked for in the past. It is not the Montero Force Main. We don't own it. It's the SAM Force Main in Montero.
Yeah, it's the SAM Force Main located in Montero, belongs
Thank
to
you.
TAP.
And I think we need to make that very clear because for transparency for the public. I think
I
that
agree with that.
it's a simple system, but when we start conflating names and taking shortcuts, the public is not fully informed.
Words matter, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we just had a meeting at GCSD and we were prepared to support this. Anyone else want to make a comment?
We have any hands up? Well, I'll make the motion then
Did Jeremy raise his hand?
Jeremy?
Yeah, I did. I just, I understand the point that was just made about nomenclature, but just be aware that in the ERF consent decree itself, it refers to the Montero Force Main. So if we're going to call it something else, we need to be advised that that is what, legally we're calling it for purposes of our court-ordered requirements.
It's not called the MWSD pipeline, it's called
No,
Montero
it
pipeline
is-
because
it
it
is in
is
Montero.
factually located in Montero.
But
So-
I've had people say, I didn't know we had that expensive a piece of pipeline. So I move to authorize the general manager to submit a budget amendment for the fiscal year 2023, 2024 to the member agencies for approval. And the number is, if you would read that into the motion, please, Keisha. And I've got my rough notes, but I missed the last few digits.
Yeah, 2,122,692.
122, what were the last three?
122, 692.
690.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jen.
Further discussion. Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Director Randall,
Aye.
Director Penrose,
Yeah, we will take it back to our board. I'm not sure that they will approve it without stipulation, but
So are you abstaining tonight?
no, I'm voting to take it back to the board.
to take it to the council.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes. So you're voting yes on the motion.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I just wasn't clear.
Director Slater Carter,
Yes.
Director Radek,
Yes.
Director Decker,
Yes.
Chair Dye.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. It's a lot of money, but I have to do it. All right. Item E, authorize the general manager to submit authorize the general manager to enter a contract with SRT Consultants for completing the design of the Montero Force Main in an amount not to exceed $448,100.
Yeah, so this is a requirement as per the ERF consent decree to complete the final design for the replacement of the entire Montara Force Main by December 31st, 2024. And the pre-design, as indicated earlier, the pre-design was done by SRT Consultants, brought to the board last year, and the board decided a particular option, and SRT Consultants worked on 10% of the design because already funds were available. And then now we restarted them for completing the design. So we have SRT's proposal. We also have Tanya from SRT Consultants, who's here to answer any questions, if anybody needs any clarifications, and yep, staff is here too. Any
Have any
questions?
discussion here? Yes, Catherine.
In reading this letter, in light of the ongoing lawsuit, I was disturbed to see that there are phrases like new force main. And it's my understanding that given the catastrophic break that we had, this is not a new force main. It is a repair and replacement with up-to-date materials. And I did appreciate that in the last paragraph or so, it said the old force main will be destroyed or capped. But I am very concerned that this is referred to all along as a new force main. And I don't want to be feeding the other lawsuit with this one. It just makes no sense. So,
And where did that wording come from?
this is from the SRT letter.
Proposal.
Yes.
Okay, the 150.
Yeah, I would disagree with what board member Slater Carter has said. When you take out an old pipe and you put in a new pipe, you're not repairing the old pipe, you're replacing the old pipe. So it is a new pipe, and the wording should stay as is.
I would agree with that.
How do we keep it from conflating into the other lawsuit then, Jeremy? Because I think when I've had, and you know, I love automobile examples. When my old car, when the engine blew up, couldn't run anymore, I put a new engine in it. It was the same. It was a replacement engine. It wasn't a new car. It was running again and able to function. And I am very concerned about the language in this. No offense to SRT, no offense to Jeremy, but I am gun shy about these huge legal expenses that we're all suffering from. And I hate, now, if Half Moon Bay will say they don't have a problem with this language and they're willing to go forward with this, I would welcome it. But in the meantime, I'm concerned.
I would say that we have, in the last years, funded a lot of new pumps, new various kinds of equipment that replace old ones. That's part of maintenance and part of just, keeping things functioning. I hear what you're saying, but I also think that certainly providing a new pipe can be seen as maintaining the system.
But this particular segment is under a contention at the courts. Those others were not.
Well, actually, the intertie pipeline system, that's what's in dispute. It's something the court's going to have to decide during the trial. The trial's going to be about. And I think, that's, I don't want to step outside my lane. That both parties, I suspect, will make arguments about, the nature of individual projects and whether they're maintenance of existing facilities or new projects. So that's something that both sides will have to marshal their evidence for. I'm not sure that the proposal necessarily makes a difference one way or the other. But obviously, Director Slater Carter, if it bothers you, and that's something you need to take into consideration. But I think the key is to look at, this work needs to get done because we have a deadline of December 31st to get it done. So we don't have a ton of time because this got pushed out from last August. So we really need to come to some conclusion one way or another. Otherwise, we're going to wind up bumping into the deadlines in the consent decree and find ourselves before the Judge Jahabri in the Northern District of California. Probably not real happy with us.
Well, I'm willing to support this. Montera has voted to support ERF settlement and agreement and funding all along. I just raised this issue so that we can all be aware of that.
Perhaps SRT can just consider that in further
Document.
further documents, which isn't directing them how to handle it, just to consider that issue in their drafting of documents. Does that work for you?
That works for me. Do we have any more discussion?
Any more discussion? Are we ready for a motion?
We're going to be voting no, because we're not going to ask our city council to rubber stamp a decision by Sam. So we're going to deal with the amendment, and then if we need a special meeting to move forward on the contract with SRT, we can do that, but we're not going to support it tonight.
And one clarification for the board members, just as important to remember, right now, we don't have a budget that contains this item, right? So, and it's probably a distinction without difference because if the city votes no, it doesn't pass anyway, even under a majority rule. But in order for an item that's not entirely within the budget to pass, it requires unanimous approval.
Now, I don't think approving this tonight would be rubber stamping it, but I understand the reason why that you want to defer approving.
Well, I would like a vote on this.
Yes, that's fine. I just,
if this gets postponed a month, will that put us behind the timeline that we need to satisfy the ERF agreement?
Absolutely. That's what I wanted to bring it up. Please remember that any delay on this is going to delay our deadline, which we have agreed for with ERF, because the basic design itself takes about 10 to 12 months, and we are cutting it too fine. Even if we were assuming that we will give a notice to proceed possibly in the month of February and get the design started, that'll be cutting it too close to get the design as well as surveying and geotech and environment.
I'm sorry, but this budget amendment could have come to the member agencies earlier. It could have come to our last meeting. So, I'm just not feeling it tonight that there's this, incredible urgency. It could have come to us before. So we're not supporting it tonight.
Yeah.
It's
You want to have a special meeting, call a special meeting afterward. We're fine with that.
We discussed this in August of 2023. I move that we authorize the general manager to enter a contract with SRT Consultants for completing design of Montera Force Main in an amount not to exceed $448,100.
Jeremy has a hand up. Jeremy,
I just had a question, if I can, for Tanya. If you pull all the stops, foot on the gas all the way down, I mean, how quickly could you, obviously you have to do it right. It's a very important facility. How long would it take you to do it? I'm wondering how close to the real deadline are we?
I'm very close. It's very tight. I didn't want to do it, but it's for you guys. So we will have to readjust a lot of things. But I do want to, well, answering your question, Jeremy, I do want to, what is going through my mind is, I think it's okay to do us, but would be good if the environmental consultant can move forward.
that's not on the agenda tonight.
I know, I'm sorry, but we are, because it's a replacement, there are certain things in this proposal that I would like to bring your attention to. We are assuming that we'll have a negative declaration that will design with a pre-mitigation
for all the biological sensitive resources. And then this project will be awarded in CDX by the county, which is a coastal development permit exemption under the LCP. It's a county LCP that is under. So, and those things inform the design. So we're going hand in hand. There's more to it than just us, right? Then there's Caltrans negotiations, which we need to start for the crossing. So it's tight. It's very tight.
So I see that you have listed all of those as
Assumptions.
assumptions and items that are going to be funded by this. So, but I'm a little worried about breaking pieces out.
Environmental consultants are included in this. They're separate.
They're not, okay. Oh, it says all three consultants will be contracted by Sam directly.
Well, will you have a meeting between now and the next SAM meeting that you will be able to discuss this?
Our next meeting is February 6th.
Okay,
And the next SAM meeting is,
after that.
That.
The 13th.
February 12th.
They could have a meeting and then you could do a special meeting.
Yeah. Well, we've already agreed to this,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So I think, well, at this point, I mean, we can go ahead and call the question, but I think I would prefer to just say to our half-day people that please go back and have the discussion, and let's hope that we can vote to support this at our next meeting.
I'm Tara, and I in particular are very worried about the ERF agreement.
We are all worried about that, but
We are
I
too.
want
We are
to be-
terribly worried.
I'm
I
so
want
worried.
to be very much,
Can I tell
I'd
you how
like
worried I
to,
am?
wait, I can see you're so worried, you're interrupting
I'm
me,
very
but let
worried.
me finish. I do believe that I would like this vote on the record so that we have a defense if ERF brings this up.
All right.
We
I
have
think we can do
supported
that.
this and we want to continue to support it. Whether it passes or not tonight is not
All right.
an issue.
We have-
And we will just be on the record as pointing out that this amendment could have come to the member agencies, months ago, and at the very least for our last meeting a week ago. So, yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and have, unless there's further discussion, we have a motion in a second. Let's have a roll call on the motion.
Director Randall,
Aye.
Director Penrose,
No,
Director Slater Carter,
Yes.
Director Radek,
No.
Director Decker,
Yes.
Chair Dye.
Yes. And I hope that you are able to have a discussion of this at your next meeting.
Look, we voted to send it back to the member agencies for discussion, so you don't have to lecture me about that. Thank you.
That was trying to be nice. Just say, we look forward to
That's
hearing
not
back
nice.
from
It's being
you.
patronized.
So the bottom line, the motion did not get approved, therefore, we are not awarding the contract to SRT consultants, and we will wait and bring it back whenever the board decides that the media budget adjustment can be approved. Sorry about it, Tanya, but it was this.
All right, moving on.
So we're not doing any work on the Montara Force Main design.
All right. General manager's report.
General manager's report, we have the monthly report in the part of the packet. If there are any questions,
I have a question. Thank you for the report. We have a report coming that talks about flow into the. But over the years, I have been told and given that flow is constantly being reduced due to water saving appliances and so on, that there are two parts to what come into the plant. And flow, the water portion is going down, but the concentration of solids and other things, which I think it's called
loading.
loading or BOD. Could you explain that again for those of us who are somewhat new, and some of us who need our memories refreshed. I haven't been to a sewer association meeting in a long time, so I need this refreshed, please.
Yeah, so the loading is a product of flow times BOD with a factor in it for the units conversion. So when you talk of flow, it should always be associated with BOD because that's the one which impacts the plant process. It impacts at the primary, it impacts at the secondary, everywhere you have the load.
All of these clarifiers and screens and that stuff is not to deal with the flow, it's to deal with the stuff in the flow.
Flow and BOD. So it's a relative strength of the wastewater. What my
was
expert
that?
says.
What did Tim say?
The BOD loading is the relative strength of the wastewater. So yeah, you are correct. While the dilution factor goes down, the concentration of the wastewater doesn't necessarily go down. So the relative strength is going to be.
And as high density units, residential units come in, is it shown that the load increases in proportion to the flow because they are there are as many people in a small area of residential units than on the standard 5,000 square foot lot.
Yeah, let me just clarify a little bit. Like for example, a couple of weeks back, a little after Christmas, we had a problem with our process here. The flows were low, but the BOD loading was high. BOD was high, so the loading was high. So then we realized that somebody was discharging, putting toxins into the sewer stream, and therefore the loads were high. The BOD loading was high, but the flow was low.
Now, is this going to be covered then in some aspect of it in the flow report that we're coming, explaining that the water moving into the plant is not the only factor that needs to be considered?
It will not come in the flow report, but it's already in the source control program, which is been approved by SAMBOR. That clearly indicates what is the BOD limits each of the establishments should be having. So it's covered there.
We have more things to cover.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I had my numbers right.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, attorney's report. Attorney's report?
He's gone.
Here he is.
Here I am. Sorry about that. Yeah, nothing to report, but we will have some closed sessions this evening.
Okay, any director's reports? All right, topics for further board consideration, anything more than is listed in the agenda? All right, we will convene in closed session.
We're probably going to need about 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean about 5-10 minutes because we have to disconnect from DCT and connect out.
Thank you.
Thank you.